What is up, guys? It is Carly here, bringing you another update video. Yes, another Blu-ray slash VHS slash DVD slash other random horror-related things updates. Have quite a bit here that I have accumulated over the past few months. You know, like I've mentioned before, around Christmas time and all that, I try not to buy as much, so I hadn't been buying too much, but I got some cool stuff for Christmas, and I also, you know, started to pick some stuff up again for myself, and I did go to a convention and get some things there as well. So different variety of stuff here to show you guys, and I'm just going to get right into it. Actually got a new camera for Christmas as well, which is what I am recording on. That's why I am on the floor again in the living room. Need to get a tripod for it, that way I can set it up more conveniently, like where I can sit on the couch and whatnot, but figured this was an easy setup anyway to have all my stuff on the floor and have the room. So but yeah, hopefully the camera quality looks good on my ends, and I'll be hopefully, you know, recording more videos with it, so I am excited for that. But yeah, like I said, gonna get right into this. I will start with some video games, actually. We have The Evil Within for Xbox One, of course. Yeah, Derek actually sent this to me, and it's one that I have been curious about playing. You know, Austin, I know, told me that it gets a little wonky towards the middle section, like it starts out solid, then he didn't really care for it too much after that, but I'm still curious on the film, or on the video game, and I do want to play it. I'm excited to have this because I've been wanting to get back into playing games I haven't been playing for a while, and Resident Evil 7 was a lot of fun, and I've just been, you know, really wanting to play some more survival horror games, so am looking forward to checking this out. Then after that, we have Resident Evil 4, and Austin actually gave me this one for Christmas, and once again, pretty excited for this. Like I said, Resident Evil 7 I had a lot of fun with. That was the one and only Resident Evil game I had ever played, and I really dug it, and he said that this one doesn't really follow any of the storylines, much like Part 7, so I don't really have to worry about that. So very curious on this one if I'm gonna like it more or less than Part 7. So yeah, gonna have to decide which one to play first. And then, guys, after that, I'll show you some shirts I got. I usually don't show shirts in my update videos because they're always in the washer or I'm wearing them, which actually I am wearing one right now. And that is this Pennywise, you know, new Pennywise It shirt. JP got me this, and it actually has sleeves, which I like because I don't have any horror shirts or anything like that that have long sleeves, and of course it is winter time, so it's nice to have that. It's a little big on me, but I don't mind that. I prefer stuff to be larger on me anyway, but yeah, pretty comfortable. And then he also got me this Freddy Krueger shirts. Now, I'm not a huge Nightmare on Elm Street fan, I've made that pretty clear, but upon rewatch, it's a movie that I have come to enjoy, and the other movies in the franchise I do think are fun, but I'm just not a huge fan as far as franchises go. It's not my favorites, but I thought this shirt was pretty dope because I do really like the sleeves on it as well. I like their black and green color. I don't really have much green clothing, so pretty happy to have this as well. Haven't tried this one on yet, but it looks like it will probably fit. Yeah, then after that, we have this Child's Play shirt. Once again, JP got me this as well. Chucky shirts, rather, I guess you could say. I know he got this at Walmart, and it's pretty cool. I like that Walmart sells these horror shirts. Obviously, you're not going to get anything super obscure. It's mainly the mainstream stuff and goes by movies that are popular and coming out, such as or it'll go by the old slashers like Jason, Freddy, and Michael, but I like it. It's pretty cool shirts. This one is short sleeve, but yeah, I'm getting a pretty decent horror shirt collection, which is something I had been wanting for a while, and it's finally growing, so that is quite exciting. That's pretty much all I have been wearing lately, so yeah, pretty awesome. Then after that, I have a few posters. I went to Steel City Con, which is popular Comic Con, like pop culture-y con around the Pittsburgh area. It's not like a horror con, like I said, it's more just everything, kind of like a more of a nerd convention, I guess you could say, where it's people like the cosplay and all that. But they always have, usually they have some decent horror actors and actresses there. I got to meet Neve Campbell, which was awesome, and Jamie Kennedy was there as well as Chris Sarandon and some other people, so that was pretty cool. It was around Christmas time, of course, though, so I didn't spend a ton of money, but I did pick up more of these posters, which I got at another convention around the area back in the summertime. JP and I got them, and the guy probably goes to all the conventions around here, so I'm definitely going to pick up more from him because I think these are pretty dope. Got this Silent Night, Deadly Nights one. It's in the cover already, glass frame, that's the word I'm looking for. But yeah, I showed these off before. They have like this very nice metallic look to them. It's kind of hard to see because it's very, very reflective. As you can see, it's pretty much like a mirror effect, but I really like these. Silent Night, Deadly Night, this is a movie that has really grown on me and become one of my favorites, so I had to grab the poster. I really enjoy that poster art. Then after that we have, sorry if you could hear the train in the background there, but after that we have Jason Lives, you know, Friday Part 6 here. I think that I've always really enjoyed the poster art for this. I think it's one of the best for the Friday the 13th films. Again, it's got that metallic shine to it, and I think that looks really, really cool with this particular poster. And I have the original Friday the 13th one, which I showed in probably, I think that was my last update video, so they look super cool next to each other. And yeah, if I go to those conventions again, I'll probably pick up more of the Friday ones from that dude. I like to get a nice mixture every time I go, but it'd be cool to collect all the Friday the 13th posters, at least the first 8, because those are the ones that I really enjoy. Then lastly for posters, we have Christine here. Yeah, Christine, it's one of those movies that I don't watch a ton, but every time I do watch it, I realize it's one that I've really grown to like and one that I have always enjoyed. It's just not one that I rewatch a whole lot, but I've always dug the poster art for this as well, and it was one of the cooler ones that he had, so I had to grab it, thought it would look cool on the wall. And yeah, I'm a big, much like t-shirts, I'm getting a nice poster collection that I'm really starting to dig. I think it just makes the apartment look really nice. So yeah, like I said, I'm gonna definitely pick up more if this guy goes to more conventions, because he doesn't charge a whole lot for them, and the metallic ones are just a cool little addition. Alright, now I guess I'll go into the VHS, because don't have a lot. I never really have a ton, but more than usual, honestly. I kind of slowed down on VHS grabbing, but first up here we have The Omen. Yeah, I picked this one up. The Omen, that's another franchise. It's not really my favorite. Honestly, I'm not too familiar with it. I've seen the Part 2 and 3 and 4 probably once. Part 4 I think I've seen a couple times actually, but in the first one I do enjoy. I think it's a good movie, but again, it's not one that I really rewatch a whole lot. But I do have, I think it's Part 3 and Part 4 on VHS. JP actually gave those to me a few years back, so figured I would go ahead and grab this as well. Found this at, where did I find this? This like thrift store that was in the mall. It's more like a flea market in a way that they added to our local mall, because it's like a dead mall, I guess, and that's like their way of getting more business. But yeah, some dude was selling VHS tapes. You could tell he was a horror fan, and got lucky and found these. They were a little bit overpriced, but I figured I would pick them up, and I want to go back there and see if that guy puts out any more, because like I said, clearly he was a horror fan, because I have a few other ones here that I picked up from his little area in there. But yeah, The Omen. Next up we have Misery. Own this movie on Blu-ray, but it's another one of those ones that's become one of my favorites over the years. It's one I grew up watching quite a bit. It was always on TV and I would always catch it. Love the book as well. It's one of the few Stephen King novels I actually read and really enjoyed, so had to pick this up. Picked it up from the same area, and in pretty decent condition. So yeah, Misery, what can I say? Fantastic film. Then after that, we actually have a Nightmare on Elm Street. Once again, a Nightmare on Elm Street related thing here. I actually don't own any of these movies on tape, and I always like to pick up films. If you find the Halloween, Friday films, or Nightmare films on VHS, I feel like you just kind of have to grab them because it's just nice to own those on VHS. And oddly enough, this one still has like the bottom portion on it that people usually rip off, or it gets ripped off and lost, so I thought that was cool. That's the only tape I think I own that still has that going for it. So once again, in decent condition, and it would be cool to find more, you know, more of the Nightmare films on tape like this. Then we have a pretty cool one here, and that is the Bookends. Now, I have never seen this film before, but I just thought it was a pretty obscure and interesting find. I've heard good things about this. I hear it's a pretty fun, awesome flick, so I am excited to check this out. Again, in really good condition. I do want to go back there, like I said, because I have a feeling that guy will probably put more tapes out when he sees that they were bought, if he has any more, that is. But yeah, this was definitely one of the cooler finds because it's not something that you really see every day. And yeah, like I said, I'm excited to check this one out eventually. After that, we have From Dusk Till Dawn. I actually didn't own this movie on any format, and I've only seen this movie one time. I watched it with JP. It was actually, I believe, for his top 10 of the 96 show, and I really dug it. It's a fun, thrilling movie that's got just this cool, you know, obvious switch up in the middle of it. Everyone, I'm sure, knows From Dusk Till Dawn, but great film. Figured I would grab it because, like I said, I didn't own it on any other formats. Got this at a thrift store. It was actually in the first horror hunting video that I did. And then lastly, for the VHS tapes, we have Flatliners. Again, got this at that same thrift store in that video. But yeah, Flatliners, this is another one that I've never seen before. I believe it's more of a thriller than a horror film, but I didn't even see the new one that came out recently either. I just didn't really have much interest since I never saw this film, but I've heard it's decent, so I am looking forward to giving it a watch, and it was just another one of those cool little finds that you don't really see too often, so figured I would grab it since I didn't own it on any other formats, and I did not see it before. So that does it for the VHS. Now I suppose I'll get into the DVDs. I think I don't know, it looks like Blu-rays and DVDs I have almost equal amounts here. Pretty decent selection here, but to start off, we have another movie that I recently mentioned in the last horror hunting video I did, and that is The Cook. Never really heard much about this film, but I just thought it looked and sounded cool, sounded like something that I would probably dig, so decided to grab it. It was at the store that's going out of business, and I wanted to, you know, grab a few movies there since they were, I believe, 40% off, so this one seems cool. I'm interested to check it out for sure. Then after that, we have I Saw the Devil. This is one that I hear get very good reviews. Another one that I have not seen before, but I look forward to checking this out because I hear it's, you know, one of the best of the decade and all that. 2010, I believe this came out, so looking forward to finally checking this one out. I have a feeling that I would really dig it. Next up, we have Cry Wolf. This one I just grabbed out of curiosity. It's one that I had, once again, never seen before, but I remember when it first came out and some people talking about it and seeing the trailers and stuff like that. So always one that I was curious about just based on, I don't know, the title and the cover always seemed interesting to me, but I just never got around to grabbing. So figured I would finally get it. I think it's actually been at that store for quite a while, and thought this would be the perfect time to get it because there really wasn't too much else that I wanted. So looking forward to seeing what this is all about as well. After that, we have a movie I just grabbed today actually at Walmart, and that is Break. This is a 2019 film, and I actually grabbed it because Austin and I, on our Movie versus Movie podcast, we're going to do Break and Frozen, because to me they just look like they're probably going to be pretty similar films based on the obvious cover and premise of the films. I've never heard anything about this movie. It might be a complete piece of shit, but we will see. We will find out, and tune into that episode, of course. That's going to be our January episode. Figured it would be appropriate since it's wintertime. Then after that we have Mask Maker. Picked this up at Big Lots, only $1.88. I was always pretty curious on this movie. It always just kind of seemed interesting to me. Another one where the cover always kind of grabbed my attention, but I never really got around to checking it out. I think I've heard decent things about it. It's kind of like a ripoff of some other movies, but yeah, seems like something I would probably dig. Then after that we have Cult of Chucky. I didn't really care for this movie too much when I first saw it, and I never really gave it the proper rewatch. I just didn't like where the story went too much at all, but you know, had to kind of buy it for the sake of completing my Child's Play movie collection at home, and I do want to give it a rewatch because I do enjoy the Child's Play films, and I didn't think this was a bad movie or anything like that. You know, obviously, like Seed of Chucky, that award will go to that, but I do want to rewatch this one and see if it grows on me, because I know some people did enjoy it, but yeah, just had to add to the collection. Then after that we have Ma. I actually got this from my Secret Santa at my work, and I was pretty happy to get this because I enjoyed this movie quite a bit this year. It was one of my favorites of the year, I would say. It's a pretty fun movie. It's also got some decent disturbing moments in it. I think Octavia Spencer is really good in her role, so I'm definitely excited to get to watch this one again and have it for my collection, because I don't really pick up a whole lot of new films on DVD or Blu-ray once I see them in the theater, so this was a cool one to get as a gift. Then after that we have Howling 4 here. Yeah, I've never seen any of the Howling films besides the first one because I hear they're all terrible, but JP actually gave me this one for Christmas, and yeah, I guess that gives me no choice but to finally check out these other films and see what they're all about. Have a pretty bad feeling about them, but you know, maybe I can have fun with them. I hear that they're not even that fun though, so we will see. I don't really know much about this one. I know they covered it on their podcast, but I don't remember which one's which. I just remember they're pretty much all terrible, so we'll see about that. And then after that, of course, we have a Howling triple feature that he also gave me. It's got Howling 3, 5, and 6, I believe that is. Yeah, like I said, I hear that nothing but pretty much bad things about these sequels, but I've always been intrigued to give them a watch kind of for that reasoning alone, so we'll see, we'll see. Hopefully there is some fun to be had with them at least. Then after that we have Santa's Sleigh. I actually bought this one because JP and our friend Matt and I and some other friends were going to watch some Christmas horror movies, kind of like we do every Halloween. We get together and watch some movies, and we were going to, you know, watch some, but we kind of got there late and we only got through 2 films, so this is still unopened and we did not get to it, unfortunately, and unfortunately it's after Christmas now, so I don't know if I really feel like watching it, but this is one that I've always wanted to check out. I've heard some decent things about it, that's a pretty solid, pretty fun film, so I am kind of, you know, disappointed I didn't get to watch it at the time, so yeah, I might save this one for next year, but we'll see. Then after that we have The Food of the Gods. I don't really know much about this. It's one of those MGM Presents Midnight Movie things. They had a lot of these at this one store I went to in that horror hunting video, and figured I would pick it up. It just seemed like a cool little find, and I heard pretty good things about it. I don't know if I'm necessarily going to like it, to be completely honest. It doesn't look like it would really be up my alley, but we'll see. You know, just kind of grabbed it because it seemed like an obscure thing to find there. Then after that we have Stephen King's It, the miniseries. I actually didn't own this on any format. This is another one that Austin just gave me out of his collection because I didn't have it, and I believe he got like an updated version of it, so finally own it. It was always at Walmart, and I just never felt like picking it up. It was just one of those ones where I'm like, I don't really need to own it, but yeah, I rewatched it and I liked it a lot more than I ever liked it before. I used to like the movie quite a bit. It's not a movie that I disliked, but I really gained a new appreciation for it, probably also because of the new movies coming out. It was just fun to watch and kind of compare, and I actually like the adult portions of the film a lot more now than I did when I was younger, so it was nice to revisit this one, and I'm happy to finally own it. After that, we have Room 237, the sort of fan-made, I guess, documentary of crazy people talking about The Shining and making up crazy theories about it. If you ever feel like a psychopath, I would recommend watching this because some of the just things people come up with, the theories, fan theories, and all that are very over the top, and I just can't believe that people think this much into films. I barely think into films that much as it is, and these people just take it to a new extreme. It is entertaining, I will give you that, and since I love The Shining, it's fun to kind of just watch scenes from The Shining. That's really what I got out of this, was I felt like popping The Shining in afterwards and actually watching the film. But yeah, I don't know. This probably wouldn't be everyone's cup of tea, but they had it at Walmart, and just had to grab it because it was something I was always really interested in checking out. But yeah, it's not for everyone, but it's cool to have. Then after that we have the Tangler. Saw the Tangler for the first time actually at a drive-in, which was a pretty cool experience, cool way to see the film, and yeah, I really dug it. I think Vincent Price is fantastic. I think he's a very ahead of his time type of dude when it comes to horror and all that. His movies probably ooze the most horror in that time period, where other movies were more tame, I guess, and not as scary. I feel like I get most enjoyment out of Vincent Price flicks, and this is one of them. I think this is a pretty solid film. Cool idea behind it as well, so I thought this was a cool one to find. Then after that we have Do You Want to Know Secrets? Picked this up at Cash and Culture a while ago, actually now, probably 2 months ago at this point, and it was one that had been sitting there for a while, and I was really just letting my curiosity get the best of me because the title and the cover just seemed like a I Know What You Did Last Summer type of ripoff, and I just wanted to kind of see if it was, and I'm also a sucker for these late 90s, early 2000s slasher films, you know, the Floating Heads movies, because that's kind of the time period I grew up in, and I find that some of them aren't too bad. This one, however, was too bad. It was really shitty, really boring, had a very low budget feel to it, and very forgettable. I actually did a short review of it on a 22 Shots episode that I guested on, but yeah, not much to say on this one, but, you know, whatever. Goes into the Floating Heads collection, I suppose. Alright, now to get to the Blu-rays, which my cat has knocked all over completely, but let's see what we got here. First up we have Krampus. Austin actually gave me this one as well for Christmas, and this was one of the ones that we watched the night where we were going to watch Santa Sleigh but ran out of time. I had never seen it before, and I really enjoyed it, so I am glad that he ended up getting it for me because I found it enjoyable, and I could see myself rewatching it around the Christmas season every year, or every other year, something like that. It could become a new tradition because it was a pretty fun Christmas film, I will say, so very happy to have this. Next up we have Alien Covenant. JP gave me this one as well, and I'm really not a huge fan of the movie, if I'm being completely honest. I was pretty bored by it when I saw it in theaters, and I'm also not a big fan of the Alien films to begin with, but I do have, you know, for the Alien movie, so it's a cool one to just add to the Alien franchise, of course, and it's nice that it is on Blu-ray. I will give it another shot, of course, but really just not my cup of tea is the main thing with the Alien movies. Just not my favorite subgenre of horror. After that, we have Joyride 3 here. JP also gave me this one. I only own the first Joyride. That's really the one that I like the most. Part 2 is okay. I only saw part 3 once, and I thought it was fun at least. I didn't think it was a good film by any means, but I'd say part 2 and 3 are fun. Part 2 is a little bit more serious. Part 1 is one of my favorite movies, honestly. If I'm, to be completely honest, it's one of those ones that I just grew up with and used to rewatch over and over again. But I think the sequels are pretty weak. But I will say I remember this one being fun. Like I said, it had some elaborate and interesting kills in it. One thing I didn't like was the Rusty Nail character is just not a secret anymore at all. It kind of just turns into like a slasher movie of sorts, road slasher movie, if you will. So, didn't really care for it too much, but it's one that I've been wanting to recheck out, so I am glad to finally own it. After that, we have Two Evil Eyes. Now, I don't really know much about this movie at all, but I've heard that it's actually a pretty solid film. JP also gave me this one as well, so I am pretty excited to have it. Oh, I didn't even realize it's a Blue Underground Blu-ray, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, I am excited to check this one out, even though I don't really know much about it. I've heard decent things, so happy to have that one. Then after that, we have Now All Out of Order, I believe. And I forget what order they go in, but I know this is the first one. I'll just show them all, I guess. The Amityville films here from the Vinegar Syndrome box sets. JP got these and gave these to me for Christmas, and I was really excited because I really wanted these movies. I thought it was super cool that they were put out on Blu-ray, especially by Vinegar Syndrome, because I'm sure they look fantastic. I have seen part 4, The Evil Escapes. This is, of course, the one with the lamp, the, cursed lamp from the house. I think it's a lot of fun. I actually just rewatched it recently because I got it on VHS, oddly enough, and I had a lot of fun with it once again, so I'm happy to own this Blu-ray of it. The other one that I have seen is It's About Time, of course, with the clock. This one I didn't like as much. JP and I saw these in a double feature at a theater 2 years ago. We were the only people to show up, so, we're some of the only people in the world to actually see this double feature of these films on the screen, which is pretty cool. But yeah, this one it has a super duper 90s vibe to it, obviously because it's from the 90s, hence 1992 here, but I didn't like it as much, but I still thought it was pretty fun. And then these other two here, A New Generation and Dollhouse, I have not seen before. I've heard Dollhouse is pretty cool, pretty fun as well. I don't really know much about A New Generation though, but I'm excited to have all these because I think they are fun movies, even though they're clearly not that good compared to the first two that you get. And yeah, I do have the Scream Factory. JP actually gave me that too, that box set with part 1, 2, and 3. So it's cool to have these ones. I think it's cool that Vinegar Syndrome put them out so you can have pretty much all the Amity films, the original Amity films on a good format. So really excited to get back into those and see the other two that I have not seen before. Next up we have Stan Helsing. For some reason I feel like I talked about this already on updates, but I guess not. But yeah, Stan Helsing, this is a pretty shitty parody film. I just picked it up as I was curious to rewatch it. I saw it years ago when it first came out, when all those bad parody films were coming out following the scary movie craze. You know, you had like date movie, epic movie, superhero movie, every blah 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 movie, and most of them were pretty bad. I didn't mind date movie too much, but you know, epic movie and all that was pretty bad, but this is no exception. This one's not too good either. I guess it's fun if you can have fun with it. I don't really think it's that funny, and I don't really think it's that well made either, or well done. That's the problem. It's not clever, and it's not necessarily even a parody of the films per se. It just has like the killers in it, like, you know, poorly done looking makeup and masks and all that killers. So it's not like the scary movies in the sense where it's parodying actual scenes. It's just like, oh, here's Michael, Jason, Freddy, and all of them trying to kill a bunch of people, and I don't really like it. I know some people find it fun, but not really something I love. I just kind of personally wanted to check it out again to see if I still felt the same way, and I did. After that, we have Stoker. I've heard fantastic things about this. I hear a lot of people argue it's not horror, but, you know, I know it's kind of a dark thriller, so I always lump those into my horror collection anyway. JP always you know, is bothering me to check this one out. So I finally have the time. This will probably be one of the ones that I check out sooner than later because heard nothing but good things about it, and I am glad to finally get to watch it. I think it looks like something that I will enjoy, so I am excited for it. After that, we have Case 39. I mentioned this one recently too. This is one that I really enjoyed when it first came out. I thought it was really creepy and scary. I remember rewatching it a few years later and it didn't really hold up as much. So I am interested to see if I feel the same way about it this time or if I like it like it did the first time. But like I said, I remember it being creepy, and I kind of just missed this era where you were getting these really just solid creepy horror films, and that's all there was to it. Nowadays you get just so many mixtures in the genre, different subgenres where it's like horror comedy, horror drama, horror thriller, whatever. You know, I just miss these actual creepy and or disturbing ghostly type or demon type of films. So I had to pick it up. It wasn't too expensive, only $3 at Big Lots. After that, we have Ouija, or Ouija, however you say it. This movie I hear is pretty much trash, but I was always just kind of wanting to see what everyone was talking about, and this one was $5, so that's a little bit too much. If it was, I should have, you know, if it was $3, I would have made more sense to buy it, but I just wanted to pick up some more films while I was there and figured why not give this one a go. Just want to see if it's as shitty as everyone says, because anytime someone tells me a movie's bad, that's like a trap and makes me want to check it out even more. So yeah, we will see about that. Then after that, we are on to the last few things here, guys. Holliston Here, Season 1. This is another one Derek picked up for me, which is awesome. I thought this show was just fantastic. JP turned me on to it, and I'd been wanting to pick up the Blu-ray for a while now. It's one of those things where I just kept putting it off or forgetting about it because I don't watch a lot of TV, but I really enjoyed this show. I remember the first episode I was kind of like, I don't know about this, and then it really just grew on me as the episodes went on, and I really appreciated it. I just love the idea of horror mixed in with comedy. It's, you know, a perfect show for the horror fans, obviously, by Adam Green. So really excited to have this and to revisit the show because I think it's pretty dope. Then we actually have Child's Play, the new one. Super excited to have this. Once again, this is one of Derek's gifts as well. And that completes my Child's Play franchise. I, oddly enough, picked up Call of Chucky that night, and that's when I got the package in from Derek. So I finally have all the Child's Play films. It's one of those weird, popular franchises where I didn't own all the movies, and now I do. And I thought this movie was a fantastic, fantastic remake. So much fun. This is how you do a remake. You know, you take the concept and make it a little bit different and just kind of make it your own, and I think they really nailed it with this film. It's one of the only movies this year where I really felt like rewatching it right after watching it the first time, and I don't really get that feeling a lot when I watch a movie. It's like, you know, unless it's one of my favorite classic movies from the 80s or something like that. When it's like a 2019 movie, I'm like, oh, that was cool, but I don't feel like watching it again for probably another year. But this one was an exception. I had a lot of fun with it, and I hope I feel the same way on second watch, because that would be sad if I didn't. But yeah, happy to own this, so thank you to Derek. And then the last thing he got me here is also super, super dope, and that is the It's Alive box set. I actually saw It's Alive, the first one, in a double feature, weird double feature, very random double feature of The Exorcist and then It's Alive. It was one of those, I think it was a Fathom event.